Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. What I want to do is read an article or a portion of an article that was, according to the headline, is a part of the January and February issues of Essence magazine. And the writer of the article essentially states that black women in America today, angry black women in America today, are basically angry and have not assess their anger because of slavery. It always goes back to slavery, right? Okay, now, having read this article and having had observation and experience in this area, I'm like, this is totally crazy. This is how the left always puts it this way. They always go about it this way. Well, it's always slavery. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a portion of this article, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think the issue is, because I do not look at all issues being something from the past. Although the past may have something to do with it, it certainly isn't slavery, and I'm going to give you my opinion on that. So let's get right into this article. Yeah. No wonder as black people we stay in the mindsets that we stay in, because we just fall for everything. We really do, man. We fall. But accordingly, it says this story is featured in the January-February issue of Essence. It says black women have fraught relationship with anger. Whether we're distancing ourselves from the harmful stereotypes of the combative, neck-rolling sapphire, and it has birth from America's Jim Crow era in parentheses. And let me say something about this, where supposedly the writer of this article says that the neck-rolling sapphire, the black woman is always popping, rolling her neck, and this, that, okay, basically came from America's Jim Crow era. Now, how that is true, I have no idea. But let me say this. Let's assume that the neck-rolling sapphire was birthed from America's Jim Crow era somehow, some way. Okay. Well, who created the Jim Crow laws? Democrats. The Democrats of the past created the Jim Crow laws. So if the neck-rolling sapphire was created by or birthed from the America's Jim Crow era, the very people that people like this is talking, and very people that a lot of black women and black men vote for, are the very ones that created that. You voted for the Democrat. You're voting for the Democrats. You're voting for the very political party that created this atmosphere of the neck-rolling sapphire. I'm just saying. So how would you vote for people who have created a system in the past that was designed to put you in this position of inadequate anger? Just saying. Anyway, birth from America's Jim Crow era, or trying to avoid the repercussions of expressing warranted frustration in the workplace, we're good at, quote, sucking it up and, quote, pushing through. But being angry is our, now this is the part that got me. Listen to this now. This is not my words. This is the writer of this article in Essence, the January-February issue of Essence. But being angry is our birthright, argues licensed psychotherapist Patrice N. Douglas, one that was taken from us during slavery. So you see, being angry is our birthright. So what do you mean it's our birthright? What do you mean it's black women's birthright that I guess because she's a psychotherapist, people are going to say, you know what, that is so very analytical and so very professionally said and so very well analyzed, because she's a psychotherapist, people are probably going to absorb what she says as true. Bull crap. But let's go on, man. Let's go on. Being angry is our birthright? So what are you actually saying? What are you actually saying, that anger is your birthright? That you don't have any personal responsibility in 2024 America for being angry and not knowing why you're angry? What evidence do we have to even remotely suggest that the so-called angry black woman of today came from slavery and it is your birthright? In other words, it's almost as if she's saying, if it's our birthright, it's as if she's saying that you have a right to be angry because somebody made you angry in the past and you have a right to be angry. It's your birthright. Are you serious? These people get paid to do this kind of research. They get paid tons of money to do this. Unbelievable. This is what it is. Anger is a natural response to certain provocations, Douglas said. Yeah, that's true. But because we are considered property, but because we were considered property and didn't have a say in things, we never had the privilege or permission to embrace and express our emotions appropriately. And anger can do so many great things for us as people. Let me say this. I'm pretty sure that black women, black slaves, black female slaves had this feeling. You know, they were considered property and they didn't have a say-so in certain things, and it made them angry. But are you to argue that anger was passed down to all black women today, and that the reason why certain black women are angry is because back then their so-called ancestors who were considered property couldn't express how they felt, didn't have a say-so in things, and so they had all this repressed anger in them, and this repressed anger passed down to women, black women of the day? Is that what you're arguing? That makes no sense, but I'm about to get right in. Even today, our anger, when we do express it, gets filtered through the stereotype lens of the angry black woman, costing us professionally and personally, and in the most extreme cases, putting us in life-threatening situations. Aware of these outcomes, many black women have opted out of exploring their anger and lean into being, quote, unbothered instead. Cicely Bowen, author of Bad Fat Black Girl, says this popular cultural response is a, quote, very cute distraction rooted in parody. Quote, avoiding our anger has never existed as a true, authentic solution. What is these people talking about? Avoiding our anger has never existed as a true, authentic solution. Notice how this writer of this particular book, Bad Fat Black Girl, is essentially making this a group situation. Okay, that's communism, really, because communism is all about group identity, not singular identity, but group identity. It's all about the group. It's all about the masses. It's not about a personal responsibility. It's about the group. Because notice what she said, avoiding our anger has never existed as a true, authentic solution. Avoiding our anger? Don't you mean avoiding your anger? Don't you mean avoiding your anger? Let's go on. Being unbothered gives us a way to walk away from a natural emotion we have no safe way of expressing and haven't had the opportunity to understand. This is all about, let me stop right there. You guys can read the rest of that in the description box below if you so please, but you get the gist of that. This is all communist nonsense, communist mumbo jumbo, and this is all pointing the blame to someone else, either slavery or we didn't have the right to say what we wanted to say. So let me say this. This is my view on this. People can agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. It's my opinion. Okay. First of all black women are not angry. That's not accurate. Forget this group identification, communist mumbo jumbo. All black women are not angry, my sister. Okay. They're not. Okay. All black women are not angry. In fact, most black women are not angry. And when you do see black women that are angry, it has nothing to see, or a black woman that is angry, it has nothing to do with slavery. When that author pointed out this idea that the angry black woman stems from the black women of slave days and they were considered property and didn't have any say so, what she essentially is doing or saying, like so many Marxists and communists and socialists say, is that don't take personal responsibility for your own actions and emotions. Blame it on someone else. In this sense, blame it on slavery, something that happened 500 million years ago plus another 1,000 years. You get what I'm saying? I'm exaggerating, but clearly you know what I'm talking about. Okay, it's the past that made you what you are. Don't take personal responsibility for the way you talk and act. That's a bunch of nonsense. Now, but let me get back to this whole idea of personal responsibility. Or rather, black women, let me rephrase that. Not personal responsibility, I'll get that in a minute. But let me deal with this idea of all this collectivism. No, all black women are not angry. In fact, from my observations and experience throughout life and observations and even reading, that most black women are not angry. They just express themselves in a different way, like every culture expresses themselves in a different way. Every culture, if you notice, every culture that's in America, okay? And when I say every culture, I mean every culture that has assimilated American traditional values, okay? I'm not talking about these cultures that come over here and they don't assimilate. I'm not talking about that. But every culture that is an American culture, right? White, black, whatever, doesn't matter. Every one of those cultures, the women express themselves in different ways. They're still women, they're still females, but they express themselves in different ways and forms, particularly when it comes to anger. I've seen some extremely angry white women, and I've seen some extremely kind black women. I've seen some extremely angry black women and seen some extremely kind Hispanic women. I mean, it's all about individuality. Now, I'm not saying that past situations and circumstances have not had an impact on these particular women, but this is unique to them. It has nothing to do with slavery and this collectivism mindset that this author is pushing. That's communism. We all got to come together. No, you got to take personal responsibility for your own actions, personal responsibility for your own anger, whether you're female or male. But since we're dealing with the females here, black females, yeah, the thing about the female snapping her neck and all this kind of stuff and rolling her neck and all this, that is not all black women. That's just a stereotype that's been promoted that oftentimes does take place. It usually, not all the time, but usually in the inner city ghetto areas where those young women have been manipulated and programmed to think that way, to act that way. Because a lot of them feel, hey, that's the best way I can get over on these thugs out here is to snap my neck and roll my neck and say you blankety blank blank this. That's her way of being tough and having to deal with knucklehead men, knucklehead black men. So she rolls her neck and all this. Whether or not it came from Jim Crow era is a bunch of bull crap. Okay. That has to do with that's a cultural thing that was not a part of black women prior to the 1960s. It was not. How many black women have you heard prior to the 1960s, particularly in the earlier history of America, in the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s, and even the 50s, where if they got angry, they was, I don't care what you think. Where you see that at with black women during that time? That came after the 60s, but I ain't gonna get into the detail of that. That was a part of the inner city ghetto areas. And I believe personally that was based on how they were programmed and conditioned to act that way based on their own personal experiences with a lot of the bad things that was happening in their particular neighborhoods with young men that they were dealing with. And as time went on, they started developing this attitude. But that mentality is promoted among the black culture as, hey, that's what defines all black women. That's a lie. Most black women don't do that. Most black women are not angry. That's nonsense. I don't believe in that. That's communist collectivism. Now, I will say this. I hear a lot of black men. Now, see, let me say this. Because this stuff is retarded. It angers me. Communism infiltration again. This writer of this book in Essence magazine is, whether she realizes or not, is promoting an ideology among black women that's destructive. That's really destructive, because what she's saying in so many ways is that, once again, she said it's our birthright. So you said that's a part of who you are. So my question is, what black man, since I won't say a lot, but some black women get mad at black men for not wanting to date them, but wanting to date white women and other people from other races, what black man would want to be with a black woman that every time she gets angry, she popping her neck or getting an attitude over something? Who wants to be with that? And I've heard black men telling me these are the reasons why. Well, I don't want to deal with all of that. Now, like I said before, most black women are not like that. They're not. They may express themselves in a different way than maybe another culture would, another ethnic group may, but all cultures and ethnic groups in terms of the females operate differently in the way they express themselves. They're still females. They still have the attributes of females. They still have the emotional mentalities of females, but they may express it in different ways based on their culture and upbringing. Okay, so but that's unique to them. Has nothing to do with, oh, you inherited as your birthright. That's nonsense. Because when you say it's a part of their birthright, what you basically are saying is that it's in their DNA, they can't help it, and they have every right to act that way. But what that actually does is it pushes back the very men, black men, that you claim you want to be with and that you get mad at because they decide they want to date outside their race or even marry outside the race. Well, you're pushing an ideology. This author is pushing an ideology that feeds into that mindset. I totally disagree with her. I don't care if she is a psychotherapist. A lot of these people with these degrees today, I'd outdo all of them. I'd outdo all of them with simple common sense. And I'm not saying they're bragging, but come on, it's common sense. All it is common sense and digging a little bit deeper, reading outside the box of what these people push you towards you. This is a lie, and it's straight from the pits of hell. Now, I'm going to tell you, me personally, I don't care, Whomever God blessed me with is whom he blessed me with. I really don't care as far as dating or whatever. I date whoever. I know there's going to be culture or marry whomever God ordains me to be with. I know I'm going to be attracted to her. She's going to be attracted to me. I'm going to be for her. She's going to be for me. And that's all it's going to be. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of preferences here on this particular video, but I will say that I will be fully aware of cultural biases. And what I mean by cultural biases, let's just say, for instance, the woman that I am dating or I end up marrying is not a black woman, but it's someone else, not necessarily even white, it's someone else from another country or nationality. I understand the cultural biases that come along with that. And when I say cultural biases, I'm talking about other black people that have a problem with me marrying someone else that's outside of my race, okay? I understand that, but if this person is the person that God has blessed me with, then everything is going to be all right. That I don't care about what they think about her or think about me. I'm married to her, she's married to you, and I ain't married to you. I'm married to her, she's married to me, and I'm not married to them. Now, if I was married to them, then it would be an issue, but I'm not married to them. But I understand and recognize the cultural biases. But if God be for me and her, who can be against us? Romans chapter 8, New Testament. So let's not even go there, baby. Let's not even go there. Yeah, okay. But I'm going to end the video on that note. I disagree with her on this. She's taking the whole thing and making it a collective situation. No, all black women are not like that. In fact, most black women are not like that. This is not a birthright of black women. This is a bunch of bull crap. Take personal responsibility for your own anger. Take personal responsibility for your own actions, whether you're a black woman, black man, white woman, white man, whoever. Take responsibility for your own actions. Look at your own situation and see what caused you to be angry. Because it certainly isn't slavery. Because as I mentioned earlier, what about those black women in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s? Those black women were women of divine. I won't say divine, but them women were awesome, man. The way they dressed, the way they act, they were the best. Those black women were. And they weren't snapping their necks and had this attitude. And they should have been the ones that really had it because they were closer to slavery than any of us are. But when a black woman snaps her necks to get an attitude today, this woman arguing here, oh, well, that comes from slavery in the Jim Crow era. Man, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. It's personal responsibility. Personal responsibility and maybe some other things, okay? But that's what I wanted to say about that. What do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all and see you again.